Hey guys, and welcome to Day Scott. This is our 42 blog, 42 blog, to make any sense of it, 42nd should I say, that makes sense. Welcome to the blog, welcome to Day Scott. So why are you here and why should you stay? Well, if you're an entrepreneur, someone who's hungry for growth and personal growth, then this is the place for you. I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm very different to the big entrepreneurs like Gary Vee and Peter Voog and Tony Robbins, just to name a few. They're very much hit their stardom. They're big, huge influencers, and they're amazing at what they do. But I am where I believe most of us are. I'm in the trenches. I started a business this month. So I'm really in the trenches, and I'm where you most likely are, where I believe most of that is we're in the first few years of starting up a business. So I'm here to just give you true, real thoughts, emotions, failures, everything of the journey of an entrepreneur, because like Gary Vee says, enjoy the journey. And that's what I'm doing. You'll see me in my tough times or good times. There's every single time. That's why I love doing this channel, because I get to be truly transparent, and you get to learn from all my failures. You get to learn from what I did good as well, not just always failing, and then what I do good as well. We can connect, and you can help me with any issues, and I can help you. So it is really just a platform to bring a community of entrepreneurs who are in the grind and pushing on to their successes. Now, if this is your first video, welcome, and welcome to the other beautiful people that already watch these videos. But this is a very interesting one, and one that is very true to me right now, because like I said, I do videos based on what I'm either struggling with or what I've learned in the past few days to week. So this one is learning how to stay focused, and it's a bit more of a thinking out loud video, so I'll be like discussing points that kind of pop into my head and a few that I've noted down. Stay tuned and learn how to stay focused. It's a really key one if you're wanting to really drive success in business. Okay, see you in a minute, guys. Hey guys, and welcome back. Just realised I'm not doing my timer, and you know I'm trying to do these under 10 minutes, and I bet that starting point was already 2 minutes in, but oh well. Let's just try grind this quickly. So, learning how to stay focused, really key one, this one. And like I said, it's going to be thinking out loud, so it's going to be sort of jumping between points. So, if you saw one of my last videos, it might have been I think it was my last video, it was understanding how to be the most productive me. And that discussed two things. Do I look to find facilitators to help me become more productive, or do I look to myself to create methods that would improve my productivity in the situation I am in now? So at the end of it, I decided that doing my own methods would be harder, and getting facilitators would be easier, but the facilitators would be and more of a short term rather than long term. Rather, if I'm able to understand my mind and break it down so I can create methods that work with the way I think, then I'm going to be much more effective at being productive. So that's what I'm trying to do. But like I've said, this is learning how to stay focused, and being productive, you have to be laser focused. And it's a learning, and especially when you work on your own, I also discussed in my podcast of having the freedom, but actually having the responsibility. It's a weird sense of freedom of like, I can get up whenever I want, but no, you have responsibility. You're trying to drive a business. It's weird, and I'm still trying to get my head around it and try and get used to it. So these are a few pointers I've made, just sort of jotted out in my head of how I'm learning to stay focused at the moment, and I feel they may be valuable to you as well. And please do add any in the comments, because like I've said, I'm learning here, and I'm really just trying to become better at being productive so I can create a better service for my clients. So an interesting thing I want to start off with is apparently creating habits now takes 90 days. I found that out like a week ago. That kind of sucks, because everyone says 30 days, but apparently it's more likely 90 days now. So that sucks, but kind of makes a lot of sense because there's quite a few habits I've been trying to develop, and they haven't become habits. And that probably and I did do one for about maybe 60 days, and it still wasn't ingrained in me, so that probably makes sense. But that just makes us being focused that just a little bit hard, that little harder. Let's leave it at that. That makes it just that little harder. So these are my points. So first of all, to stay focused is reevaluate where you are every 2 weeks. If not every week. Don't do it every day, as it'll just annoy you. And you can't look on a day, because it's not enough data, it's not enough time to analyze what's going on unless something big was going to happen that day. But really reevaluate a minimum of every 2 weeks, if not every week. Just have a day and just put a few hours to just reevaluate and just making sure. But even as simple as just jotting down the goals you're supposed to achieve in the next 2 weeks, and then seeing what you actually achieved to what you didn't achieve, and see what's gone wrong there, whether it was procrastination, or whether you weren't efficient enough, or you just didn't know what you're doing, or didn't want course, or whatever it was. If you really dig into that, you may learn some really key things that you didn't realize, and that's why it's really key to write them down rather than thinking them, because your mind will play tricks on you, and I'm sure it will try take you away from what you're trying to achieve. Whereas when it's on paper, the paper doesn't lie. So write down exactly what you need to achieve, and don't let your mind make you think that you achieved it or kind of achieved it. Paper doesn't lie. Another one is plan a minimum of a day ahead, if not a week ahead. Obviously, you're going to be probably pretty aware of what's going on in your next few weeks anyway, but have a very clear vision of the next few days. Obviously, we've always got things booked the next few weeks, but it's very hard to make a very clear schedule each day. And I've tried this. I even tried doing a 6-month plan. It just didn't work. I just did my head in. Trying to action, like I could do some basic things of where I want it to be, about how many events I want to be running, how many clients I want. You can do some big goals like that for sure, but going in depth is pretty difficult and quite mind-numbing to try and do on a long term. And interesting to that, I actually went to a meetup recently, my monthly meetup I go to in Leeds, the Elite Network Club, and they mentioned something. I'm going to just look down here, and I can't remember where they're from, but they did a talk on this, and basically he spoke about, to be focused, you have to, and achieve your goals that you set out, they have to be within your time bubble. Now, what he meant by this is that pretty much what I just said. When you're doing long-term goals and trying to do like a 6-month action plan, you can only really jot the big milestones of, I want to own a business, I want 10 clients, I want 3 employees, stuff like that is straightforward to not deviate off. Whereas it's very difficult to price down every step that is going to take you to that in that 6 months. It's very difficult to do that. So, and you won't end up doing them, whereas the big ones you're much more clear on. So what he's saying is keep it in a time bubble, is in your time bubble, is keep the sort of the smaller goals within your time bubble. So what is your time bubble? What is my time bubble? Now it's going to take some learning. I believe mine is probably a month. For instance, this guy said his was, it can go up to a year now, but what it means by a time bubble is like, how long is it going to take you for just to deviate off that task? Say you plan to achieve a goal in the next 2 months. Are you actually gonna, and you put all the steps for the next 2 months to achieve it perfectly? Is 2 months too much of a wide span for you to actually achieve it, because you're just not set out that way to be that organized? And that's not a shot on you, or it's not a shot on me. It's just, it's gonna take learning, especially starting out in business. There's just so much to do. Everyone seems to be emailing you, calling you. There's just so many things to learn. It's just so exhausting and frustrating at times. So just don't feel like you need to nail everything at the first, and don't worry if a time bubble is really small like mine. So that, I just thought I'd add to that, of the whole planning a day to a weekend. Don't feel like you have to do these 6-month, year action plans. And if you are going to do them, just do big goals rather than small goals, because for me it'd be pointless. Maybe not for you, but that's just my piece on it. Another interesting thing that I found to help you be more focused, this is a bit of a weird one, I've not actually seen this anywhere, it's just one that works for me, is change the location in which you work. I would say every 2 weeks. Now I don't do that as well now because it's quite difficult because I work from home. But when I do this, I am actually currently thinking of getting an office, so hopefully that'll help. But when I do that, it just, I don't know what it does. I don't know what there's obviously some science to it, what it does to your mind, but I'm not sure. But it just clears your mind, and you're just so much more efficient and productive. I believe if it works that well for me, I believe it'll work for you. So just give it a go. I'm not saying do it in your bedroom, but maybe try to change to the front room, or if you've got some offices, and change a different area of the offices, whatever's it works in your situation. But yeah, just change the location of where you work, or the space, and I feel that really will help. It's just a weird one that I found worked for me. Another one that I do quite regularly, but I would like to do more, is network with stronger and more focused people. So basically just networking with people who are stronger and more focused than you, and surrounding yourself with them as much as possible to basically allow their learning to basically fall onto you and you to consume and become just as productive and focused as them. I love doing that. I love learning from people more focused than me, more switched on. I speak to many of them every day, and I hope that from doing that, it's going to help me facilitate me be more focused. And an interesting point on that, and this is something I've seriously thought about, but I just don't know who I'd do it with. I've genuinely thought about, this is kind of inspired by the whole I watch a lot of YouTubers. You know how loads of YouTubers usually, to help their content improve, they will all rent a house together or buy a house together, and they'll live together for however long. I honestly am thinking about, well, I've been thinking about it, I would honestly do that. I want to do that with a bunch of entrepreneurs. I think it'd be awesome. Obviously, I've been in the uni digs, but now I've sort of transferred my knowledge to focusing on growing a company. I would love to actually renting, whatever, a flat or a house of having 5 entrepreneurs, and just people are really focused entrepreneurs, not people who are just sort of winging it. People are really focused, because otherwise it'll just become a piss up. But really focused entrepreneurs, and just basically live together and just work in the same house and just work off each other and just learn from each other. And if everyone's honestly ultra focused, then you'll always be there to pull up the other person when they're slacking, when they're not getting up on time, or when they're not putting that extra time in, or not doing this right. And you just help each other free of charge. I honestly really want to do that. And if that interests you, I've not asked anyway, it's just something I've been thinking of, then comment below, maybe we can sort something, I don't know. Anyway, that's my thought. Another one I want to point from a book, from the meet, not a book, but from my notes from the meetup the other week, is he also explained was that, so when you're trying to achieve a goal, there's always barriers to every goal. It's the amazing thing about the journey to a goal, is there'll always be 101 barriers. Now, you can either focus on what you can't do, or you can focus on what you can do. Now, people starting up, a lot of the time, even when you get good at this, it's kind of hard not to see the stuff you can't do, not to see the stuff that's going to annoy you and get in the way. But the different way of thinking when starting a business and running a successful business, and what I'm trying to become better at, is focusing on your goal and focusing on all the positive things that are going to help you get there. So not focusing on the barriers towards that goal. So let's say I've got a goal I've got to achieve in 2 weeks, and there's 10 barriers. I don't focus on these barriers. Obviously I get through them, but I'm focusing on the goal and looking on the goal. And the image shows this really well. I don't want to show the drawings, it's just terrible. But basically it's just a stick man focusing, and then when they look, there's the barriers there, and then the goals are there. When they focus on the barrier goes too high and you can't see the goal. But when the person focuses on the goals go really high, and you get the goal almost is coming to you. So what I'm trying to say then, a tongue twister, is focus on what you can do, focus on the positives towards that goal, about beating the barriers, and don't focus on the issues the barriers are going to cause. Don't focus on the negative parts of the barriers, because yes, there's barriers to everything. Nothing's ever smooth in business, that's why it's business. Just don't get down by it. Just don't find the negatives too negative, and always understand, be very clear of what the final goal is. So they were my points. I hope they were of value to you. I've already gone over 10 minutes, for fuck's sake. But yeah, those were my points on learning how to stay focused, and that sort of things I'm taking on board at the moment to help myself be more focused, more productive, because it's something I'm struggling with at the moment, with the whole having freedom but having responsibility. It's just a weird one, which I discuss quite deeply in my podcast if you go back and watch that. But the takeaway is basically all of my points I said is try them, see if they work for you. I'd love you to try the one that is change workplaces, change locations, because that's one that I haven't read anywhere. That's one that I just learned for myself, and I found it was really helpful. So it'd be interesting to see if that one works for you. But I'll quickly go through them so you can use them. So reevaluate where you are every 2 weeks or every week. So have clear goals set on a piece of paper, reevaluate, make sure you achieve them. If you didn't achieve them, why didn't you achieve them, blah blah blah. 2, plan a day to a week ahead in detail, as that's what I mean. Obviously you can have sort of understanding what you want to achieve in the next 2 months, but in detail plan at least a day, if not a week ahead. Change work locations and places where you are, in your office, in your home, wherever you are, just change places. Another one, network with stronger and more focused people, which you can easily do by going to any meetup, any networking groups. And if you're interested in doing that, then I personally run quite a few events as well as go to many. So if you're nervous or just interested in getting involved, please do comment below or DM me, and I'd be happy to introduce you to some and take you and go with you. And the other ones were the book, in the book, yep. So the other ones were the time bubble, make sure it's within your time frame, which is something you're going to learn. You're not going to know probably today. You might have been all right understanding it, but you'll learn. So detailed goals, keep within your time, within your time bubble, which for me I believe is a month at most. So I'm trying to increase it to a year, which may take a bit of time. And the other one is, when you're trying to get the goal, is focus on the goal, not the barriers. There'll always be barriers, there'll always be negatives. Just suck it up, learn from your failure, and just always focus, always be fully clear of what that goal is, and don't allow the barriers to become bigger than the goal. Don't allow them to be the bigger focus over the goal. The goal is always the biggest focus. Just see the positives and learn from the barriers, and just get through them and get to the final goal, and you'll get there much more efficiently. So yeah, that's my takeaway. Hope you're getting value from that. I am trying to get back onto the ball with these videos, because I know it was a bit wavy last week. That was my first week I actually messed up on not coming out consistently. It was a bit of a messy week, because I got my brother's Christmas present and we went out on the Friday night, and then sort of work was everywhere because we're getting ready for this week, because it's Black Friday this week, and so we did lots of stuff in business for Black Friday, and lots of really good stuff. Hopefully Amazon have some wicked things on this week, which I'm going to be looking out for, and I'm sure you are too. So thank you very much. As always, please follow me on all social media: YouTube @ScottMears, Twitter @ScottMears_, and Facebook @ScottMearsEntrepreneur. As always, oh, for fuck's sake, it's gone. I'm so sorry about that. I hope that was, oh fuck's sake. Apologies about the blurriness. Because I don't look at myself because I can't look at myself into the video, so I really hope that wasn't for too long. I apologise if it was. Anyway, as always, show off my top. The best way to predict the future is create it. So go out and then create your future. This was Day to Day Scott. It was a pleasure, and I hope to see you at the next one tomorrow. See you then, guys. Bye.